Super Chatters, please come to the front stage. You know who you are. Mark Cleveland, the Silva Brothers, Austin, Double A, Terry Roberts, please report to the front stage. D2W Stu, your presence is required at the front stage. Unburger, I see you. Tony Turley, we see you lurking over there. Nolan Mendoza, Bender. If you want your name mentioned in this song, all you gotta do is drop a $14.99 super chat so Smitty can identify you and drop you in. Get your name in the intro song of every Tuesday, Thursday show.
It's a blue button.
You in the throat. Herbert's the goat. He'll punch you in the throat.
Run it back, Ma.
Herbert's the goat. He'll punch you in the throat. Herbert's the goat. He'll punch you in the throat.
Would all of the VIP Super Chatters please come to the front stage? You know who you are. Mark Cleveland, the Silva Brothers, Austin, Double A, Terry Roberts, please report to the front stage. D2W Stu, your presence is required at the front stage. Unburger, I see you. Tony Turley, we see you lurking over there. Nolan Mendoza, Bender. If you want your name mentioned in this song, all you gotta do is drop a $14.99 super chat so Smitty can identify you and drop you in. Get your name in the intro song of every Tuesday, Thursday show.
It's a blue button.
Herbert's the goat. He'll punch you in the throat. Herbert's the goat. He'll punch you in the throat.
Run it back, Ma.
Herbert's the goat. He'll punch you in the throat. Herbert's the goat. He'll punch you in the throat.
Would all of the VIP Super Chatters please come to the front stage? You know who you are. Mark Cleveland, the Silva Brothers, Austin, Double A, Terry Roberts, please report to the front stage. D2W Stu, your presence is required at the front stage. Unburger, I see you. Tony Turley, we see you lurking over there. Nolan Mendoza, Bender. If you want your name mentioned in this song, all you gotta do is drop a $14.99 super chat so Smitty can identify you and drop you in.
Yo, welcome to the show. My name's Smitty. You're watching the Fantasy Football Show live. We do this every single Tuesday and Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern to 7 p.m. Eastern every Tuesday and Thursday. And we don't stop there. We don't stop there. We do live streams in the wee hours of the night. We mock draft on the weekends. We do it live here at the Fantasy Football Show. Bad news on the fantasy football front. Before we start talking about this from the perspective we're going to eventually go in, which is going to be a argumentative potentially. I don't know. You guys are my diehards. You know how I feel about Akers. But I first want to lead off by saying prayers up to Akers. I hope he recovers. I will be rooting for him. I want this man to succeed. And, I hope he bounces back. Now to speak about Akers, to speak about drafting early, to speak about all the stuff that's going to now come funneling in our direction. I see it already on Instagram. I'm getting DM after DM. I'm getting comment after comment. Prayers up for Akers. I want to lead off with that 10 times over. I want him to succeed and recover. Akers was a predictable risk. And yes, we couldn't see that it was going to be a torn Achilles tendon. Could have been an ACL. Could have been something like that. But he was a predictable risk. There was a high likelihood that he was going to bust in 2021. I said it over and over and over and over and over and over on the show. Almost every time the man's mentioned, I tell you, why are you taking him at 10? Why are you taking him at 11? And I know a lot of the people that owned him will want to immediately defend that you couldn't see it coming, because then it feels like you're blaming yourself. It feels like you're admitting that you dropped the ball. The natural reaction will be for people to be like, you cannot predict this kind of thing. But the guy had 3 separate injuries last year, 2 ankle-foot related issues, 1 rib issue, injury risk coming in, playing style. Thank you for wiping your feet, crazy world. Playing style that most likely would lead to injury. And a mess of a coaching staff in terms of the running back usage, not in terms of defense or how they might play in 2021 as a whole. But Akers was a massive risk. My number 1 avoid running back for 2021. And everyone's going to say you got lucky, or there's an echo. You shouldn't have an echo. And everyone's going to say, oh, that's why.
There we go. We had the wrong mic up. Let's start over. Ready? We'll cut it from here. Welcome to the Fantasy Football Show. My name is Smitty, and we had a mic issue there for a second. We do this every single Tuesday and Thursday here on the channel, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern, every single Tuesday and Thursday. Now what I want to say is prayers up to Cam Akers before we start talking about how this was a predictable risk that you shouldn't have taken in 2021. And a lot of my people didn't. We do a lot of mock drafts here, Cam Akers and Swift. A lot of the times these people that draft Cam, draft Swift. The people that draft Swift, draft Cam. It's like a type. It's an underdog. There's a lot of risk involved in the situation, from McVay and the coaching staff down to injury risk, which, again, you can't predict the type of injury, an ACL or an Achilles. And I know a lot of people are going to come in, especially after this video post, and say, Smitty, you can't predict injury. This is garbage, blah, blah, blah. He's been my number 1 avoid running back for all of 2020. Prayers up to him. I hope he recovers. I will be rooting for him. Okay? As somebody that's injury prone, I know how it feels to have injury risk. I walk with it every day. My knees are very injury prone. So I will be rooting for the man. You can still get your name on the door, $20 super chat, and it gets you in door league number 2. I don't think we have spots left in door league number 1, but if you drop a $20 super, Ram, you will be in door league 2. And I will walk right over immediately and write your name on the door. I hope Cam recovers. I really do. But an Achilles tear, it's going to be really, really tough for this man to return to form or where he was probably headed if he got the work, if he didn't endure an up and down coaching decision-making fest all year long, where they decided to use Henry and Akers and mix things up more than people wanted to admit was possible. Everybody wanted to jump on the Akers. He's a top 5 to 10 running back bandwagon, but I just didn't see it happening. And I know a lot of you are going to say, you can't predict this, you can't predict that. But Akers was an injury risk. And the thing I want to take away from this show isn't, oh, pat yourself on the back. The guy got hurt. I'm not happy he got hurt. I'm not happy at all that he got hurt. But there are some things to take away from this and say, hey, you know what? What can we do to avoid the next Cam Akers? What other players feel and smell the same way when it comes to injury risk and situational risk? And the answers are pretty clear. They're pretty clear. Swift, I would say Miles Sanders, Josh Jacobs. Those are the guys that I just don't want to own, period. They feel very, very, very bust driven. Rem with the $24.99 super chat. He says, put me on the door right now. Stop your show immediately. Walk over to the door, Smitty, and write my name on it. Rem, I'm gonna put Rem. No, I'll put your full username. Rem K Nant. Rem K Nant. Attaboy, Rem. Attaboy, Rem. You were on the door, my friend. You were on the door, my friend, in marker, and you were in the door league. DM me on Instagram if you would right now, bro. What's up, Boozy? Where were we? My must-avoid players for 2021. Must-avoids. Guys that feel like I'm not drafting them almost anywhere they fall. Let's go ahead and put Sanders. We'll put Jacobs. Actually, let's rewrite this. So right here. Ram, I appreciate you, my man. You're in the door league. DM me on IG. Okay, so this right here is for a prop that I did. You'll see it drop tomorrow morning, early morning. The stuff I already had on this board. Okay, so here we'll put avoid entirely. And these guys are risky. But at the right price, still may invest. Okay? So the avoids entirely will be Sanders, Jacobs, and Swift. And you know what? I want to put Swift 1 in case everybody says, oh, you weren't ranking them right. Swift, Jacobs, Sanders. These guys I'm avoiding pretty much at all costs. The guys that I'm worried about, but I'm not avoiding at all costs, but I'm worried about him. Henry at number 3 to 5 overall is a huge risk. Just a massive risk. Chubb, I'm avoiding in the first round. I start to warm up to the idea in round 2 as a second drafted player, but he's not falling there. And I'm sorry, bro. Depending on where he falls, Uzi, you're going to be upset. But Mixon in round 2, heck no. Very big risk. And let me just glance at, and then Barkley, yeah, Barkley. I was high on Barkley for a part of the offseason, but about 2 weeks ago, was it? 2 weeks ago, I started to say, guys, he's a risky pick when you're talking about being able to take Zeke Elliott at 4 or 5. About 2.5 weeks ago, I would say about 2 weeks ago, I came on this live stream and I said, guys, Barkley's at 4, Elliott's at 8. There's something wrong here. They need to swap. Barkley needs to fall to where Zeke is going. Zeke needs to rise where Barkley's going. Wasn't real popular at the time. Now Elliott, more and more comes out. Elliott looks fantastic, looks in great shape. And Elliott now is vaulting into everybody's 4 to 5 overall. Thank you, Switz. I appreciate you. So I don't like Barkley in the first round at all. I don't like Mixon anywhere in the second round. Let me move these bad boys over. And I don't like Barkley in the first. I don't like Mixon anywhere in the second round. And I'm even probably not drafting him in the third. That's going to make some of you angry. Uzi's not going to like that. But there's too many safer options. Chubb, I'm not touching in round 1. And Henry, I'm not taking anywhere near the top 3 to 5. I'm just not. We can get into each one of these in a second. But I first want to start off by saying this. I can't tell you how many DMs and comments I'm getting right now. And when I went live on Instagram for about an hour earlier, how many people are saying, Smitty, this is why you don't draft early. Completely the opposite. Let me tell you something. I'm not advising people in redraft to draft in January and February. I'm not advising that. Wipe your feet, as Mike says. 72 people watching. Please hit the thumbs up. It lets YouTube know that this show is the shiznit and it needs to get out to more people. So please punch the thumbs up, like Mike said. Drafting early is not a bad thing. Every time there's an injury, somebody comes out and says, probably the guy that owned Akers, that I told not to draft Akers, comes out and says, See, up. See, this is why you don't draft early, Smitty. Because I got burned, so therefore we shouldn't draft early. 11 other owners didn't get burned, but I did. So we shouldn't draft early. Let me tell you something, Philip. 7545 on Facebook. Let me tell you something. You have such a strategic advantage when you draft early. Massive, massive advantage. Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, J.K. Dobbins, Josh Allen, Javonte Williams, Trey Sermon real late downstream, Jerry Jeudy 6-7 round range. Those names that I just listed off will be going higher and higher every single day and week we get closer to the end of August. Those that draft early, these people that don't prepare in your league, like Bob from accounting, your grandma, your baby cousin, all these people that magazine draft and they cram last second, they don't know Justin Jefferson's a lock in round 2. That's why his ADP falls into the top of round 3. It's not because sharks like you and me, like Scott, RGB, Jose Perez, Uzi, Jose Luis, Mike Ortiz, Elgin, Crazy World, all of you, Curry, Austin, every one of you, you know what time it is. You know it's Justin Jefferson season. You know it's CeeDee Lamb season. These people don't. Bob doesn't. Bob gets in the elevator with a stack of papers, dropping his TPS reports all over the place, and he lives in a world where Justin Jefferson is a 3.5. He lives in a world where you go, hey, Bob, how about that Justin Jefferson? What do you think? Top 5 wide receiver this year? Top 5? He doesn't even know JJ could be a top 5 wide receiver. Bob doesn't even know that Justin Jefferson's a top 10 wide receiver. He has no clue. He thinks you draft Justin Jefferson right around Allen Robinson. He has no clue. Why would you not want to draft against that out-of-date, behind the curve, behind catching up on all the knowledge and insight around the fantasy. Why would you, because a guy can get hurt, and if you avoid the injury-prone players, you will have a better chance of not being one of those victims. A guy could get hurt in October, in week 3, in week 2, in week 10, October 1st, September 15th in practice. Anybody can get hurt at any moment in time. It doesn't matter if it's August 15th in the preseason. It doesn't matter if it's September 20, whatever. You're gonna have a likelihood of getting hit with an injury. What you don't have if you draft late is the advantage and upper hand on somebody that doesn't study fantasy football like you do day in and day out. Somebody like you that's on top of CeeDee Lamb season, on top of Josh Allen being worth way more than people are where they're drafting him at 4.9. That's where he's valuable in mid fourth to late fourth round. You win a league because of Josh Allen there. Herbert's going to climb up everybody's board. Right now, you're an idiot if you like Herbert as the third quarterback or fourth quarterback in fantasy football. In August, you will be a genius. In late August, you will be the norm. In late August, you draft Herbert as the number 4 quarterback, and it's going to be like, yeah, that's about right. That's about right, Bob. But now, you're drafting him way too early, but you get to steal him away. Don't listen to the people that tell you, especially in Dynasty, don't draft early. Don't draft early. Don't draft early. Those are the same people that say, don't draft quarterback. Don't draft quarterback. Or, you can't predict injury. You can't predict injury. Those are all the same people. Lump them all together in one bucket. Those people fit the same MO for all those things, man. Nothing wrong with drafting early. Get a jump on people. Use the knowledge you're absorbing and taking in right now to your advantage. You know what sucks about drafting late? Let me tell you what sucks about drafting late. I'll show you right now. This is what sucks about drafting late. Guess what? Let's pull it up. Guess what? Now, you've got CMC. You've got Kamara. You've got Cook. I've got Elliott. Then you have Jonathan Taylor, Henry. In no specific order, really. You have a lot of people would have, I guess, Chubb here. Again, this isn't my exact order. I'm just going in a general ADP ranking. It's getting hard to read. I'm going to go in a different color here. Then you got, so we got Henry, Chubb, Barkley, who's going way too high. You got Harris. You got Aaron Jones. Gibson. Or Eckler. We'll put Eckler here. Again, this is not my order. This is just kind of consensus-wise. Okay. Where was Akers? Where was Akers? Akers was right about here. Akers was right near Chubb and Henry. Here's JT. I'm going to rewrite these because you can't really see it with that color. I'm sorry about that. Let's get rid of this green. Okay. What happens when we lose an Akers? What happens? Now Akers is removed from the equation. Every single one of these running backs, all the way down to Clyde Edwards-Helaire, J.K. Dobbins. These guys all move up. What do you say? A draft slot? Wrong. They move up multiple overall draft slots now. Let me explain why. This isn't my ranking, bro. Switch, this isn't my ranking. This is like consensus ranking. I've got Clyde, JK, and Gibson and Harris like right here. Now, in your consensus ranking, this is consensus. You're doing a draft. This is kind of how they fall. Now, JK climbs and CD and Gibson climb probably, I would say, 2 to 3 overall spots now because you took a running back off the board. When you take a starting, in people's mind, not my mind, a top 5 to 6 to 7 running back off the board, which was the way a lot of people viewed Akers, and I don't know why, but they did. You take a top 5 to 7 running back off the board, people start freaking out. Gibson now climbs from maybe 18 to 14. I bet you Gibson goes up plus 4 spots now. Clyde Edwards-Helaire you could get at 3.2 to 3.5. I bet you he climbs up 3 spots. I bet you Clyde on average goes at 2.12 in the second round. J.K. Dobbins, he was going probably around 3.2 to 3.5, maybe 3.6. I bet you he climbs to 2.2 to 3.1. Give him 3 spots. These guys all climbed 2 to 3 to 4 overall spots because you took a running back off the board, and it has a cascading effect through not only the first round where people were drafting Akers irresponsibly at 10. It has a cascading effect of pulling 1 or 2 running backs up into the top 12 because now people are freaking out about running backs. It's a thinner position than ever. It makes all the running backs that much more valuable. Akers been going mid to late second round. No, he's not. What are you talking about, Soda? Okay, so now you have Gibson being pulled up from mid second to late second to the top of the first. You have Clyde pulled into the second. You have Dobbins pulled slightly into the second. Not drafting early just cost you the values of multiple running backs that you could have got a lot later. Now it's going to be really, really hard to draft J.K. Dobbins, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and Gibson in the places you used to. You used to be able to grab Clyde as a third drafted player. You used to be able to draft J.K. Dobbins as a third drafted player. Say no more. Not anymore. Not anymore. Second rounder. Top of the second round pick. It's very impacting to all these running backs. Gibson's taken off the board is not a good thing. We didn't, in general, some of you liked Akers, I get that. But in general, this community was down on Akers, partially because I kept driving it home. Trust your gut. Always trust your gut. I'm wrong on stuff, guys. I could be wrong on Clyde again. I could be wrong on JK. I could be wrong on Gibson. Make sure you trust your gut. But our community as a whole has been pretty down on Akers compared to the norm. And yet, this is bad news for us. Even though you might be thinking, oh, glad I avoided him. It impacts us for all the drafts going forward. Injuries suck. You take people off the board that are up high, it impacts everything. Now, Henderson, I know a lot of people want to talk about Hendy right now. And let's look at Hendy's ADP. Let's find Hendy's ADP real quick. We'll go to let's go to calculator right now and look at it. I don't know where it's at, but Hendy's ADP is at 10.10. So pre-Akers injury, Hendy equals 10.10 ADP. Ram, did you DM me on IG? Guys, follow me on IG, The Fantasy Football Show. Throughout the entire show, I'm going to be shouting out every single one of you that follows me on Instagram. And so I'm going to go there right now and yell out who has been following me. Cal Bear, appreciate it. Rem, follow me on IG. just now. Attaboy, Rem. I'll be shouting you out all show long. Pre-Akers injury. Pre-Akers injury, 10.10 ADP. That is around the likes of Tampa Bay defense. Matt Ryan. I like Mike Williams, but Mike Williams, he's a good late, double-digit round grab. Ruggs, not drafting Ruggs. Lindsey, I'm not drafting Lindsey. Mecole Hardman. Something tells me Pringle or Jamarcus Robinson is going to be the number 2 in KC. Tariq Cohen, Penny, up above Hendy. Hollywood Brown. I like Hollywood, but his situation blows. Waddle. Okay, so that was an acceptable place to draft Darrell Henderson pre-Cam Akers injury. Okay? Again, that's around players like Hollywood and Mecole. Easy call to draft him. Easy call. What's up, Daniel? I appreciate that. Jose says, damn, Smitty, what if I already followed you? Jose Luis already followed me. How's that, Jose? Thanks, Daniel. Now where do we draft Hendy? Okay, as we go up into the 9th round. You guys tell me in the chat where you stop. Tell me stop. In the chat, I want you to put up a stop sign, put up a hand, put up a stop, right stop, whatever. When you feel like we need to stop and put Hendy in that round. Round 9. We're talking about Jamal Williams, who could be the starter in Detroit. What? I know somebody right now in the comments, some Swift owners like, what? Did he just say Jamal Williams starting over Swift? I'm not the one that said it. The OC, Lynn said it. The offensive coordinator said it. The offensive coordinator said Jamal Williams is the starter. Not me. You Swift owners need to take it easy on me. I'm merely relaying fact that Detroit calls Swift the 1A back, the A back. And Lynn calls Swift the B back. You did take that however you want, Swift owner. Bob, Phillip, Will Fuller, Gus Edwards, Devin Singletary, J.D. McKissick, Tyler Boyd, Antonio Brown. That's round 9. We moving Hendy up? We moving Hendy up more? I think we got to move him up more. Round 8. We're talking about Michael Pittman Jr., Jalen Hurts, A.J. Dillon, Kenyon Drake, Jerry Jeudy. I like Jeudy a lot. Robbie Anderson, Deebo Samuel, Zach Moss, James Conner, Juju Smith-Schuster, Noah Fant. Do we keep going up? Noah says round 6. Daniel says 4.5. That's high, bro. Keep in mind, they could bring in somebody. They could trade for Melvin Gordon. There's a lot of things that could happen. They could bring in Adrian Peterson and just like muddy it up. Not saying AP would be, we'd have people talking about him. Like, do we pick up AP? What do we do? Does he still have a little bit left in the tank in that offense? If they leaned on AP, Adrian Peterson could get the call. Don't be surprised if we see news tomorrow or today that says Adrian Peterson, there's interest. I'm just saying, I'm not trying to predict whether he still has enough left in the tank. I'm never going to doubt the man, to be honest with you. Okay, so we're still going up. People want to go up. Round 7. This is where we're talking about where do we insert Hendy in ADP right now? Because ADP won't match it. We need to now be predictive. Matt Stafford, David Johnson. Why is he there at 7.1? Tom Brady, Cortland Sutton, DJ Chark, Trey Sermon, Devontae Smith, Ronald Jones, Dallas Goedert, Fournette, Logan Thomas, Michael Carter. This feels about where you start considering Hendy. Do you draft Michael Carter ahead of him? Do you draft Trey Sermon in anticipation that you won't use Hendy anyway, and by the time Sermon gets in there, you want to use Sermon? I think into 6th round and then down into 7 feels like the right place to value him. But I think people are going to go higher. I already see a bunch of 5.6, 7th round, 6th round, 5th round, 4th round next to Jacobs. I mean, this is high. Let's go a little higher. So if we're talking about into round 6, you're talking about Brandon Ayuk, Damian Harris. I don't love Damian Harris this year like everybody else. Russell Wilson. It's a good quarterback. Jamar Chase. Are you really going to take Hendy over Jamar? I don't think I am. Kenny Golladay. I'm taking Kenny Golladay. I like Hendy, but there's a lot of roadblocks still. We're talking about, keep in mind, even though I was avoid Akers at all costs in the first round, like I couldn't believe he was going in the first round. Half of it was injury risk, half of it was McVay. Now, you eliminate Akers, there's not a lot of options there for McVay, but could McVay still cloudy this whole thing up? He could. The one thing going for Henderson is that he knows the system now. And if you remember back when Akers was entering the league, when Hendy was entering the league, and I was included in the Hendy hype, we all were excited, even as rookies, excited about the rookie. And we thought McVay knows what McVay's got to know that the talent's there. But he didn't use them. So Hendy's got an advantage of knowing the system. McVay tends to wait until a running back's completely immersed and knows the offense. So Hendy does have an advantage over anybody else that they do bring in. And then Xavier, a lot of people like Xavier. Lockett, Golladay, DJ Moore. This is 6th round range, guys. Jamar Chase. I can't myself, as much as I'm excited about Hendy, getting potentially a shot, I can't put him above Jamar Chase. I can't put him above Golladay. I cannot put him above Javonte Williams. So we're talking about end of the 6th round into round 7 is where we have to value Hendy. No, Brandon, if you see my tone, Brandon, it's caution on Hendy, not going all in. Whoever's picking up Henderson has 24 hours to use him as trade bait, says Antong. I might rather have Michael Carter as well, Kenny. So if you want my opinion, slot Hendy in the end of 6, but in round 7. Do not start reaching for him in the round 4 or 5 range until we at least know more. Like if they come out and say, look, Henderson's our guy, he's getting all the work. I will caution you, trusting McVay is how you get burned though. Will I vault him another round maybe? Yeah, I might if I hear that he's going to be the guy. They're not bringing anybody in. But right now, we need to wait and see what happens. Mark Cleveland in the house. What's up, bro? Mark, I haven't had a chance to check your message here. Okay, we got time. Mark, if you want to call up right now even and ask a question, that'll actually be entertaining for the show. So if you've got a question, dial up and I'll answer and put you on speaker. Mark is a part of the HeySmitty.com, which is right down at the bottom, text message service where you can order my text service for 3 months, 6 months, or 12 months, however you want to order it. And you can text me, and I've got a separate phone. This is my personal phone. This is my text service phone for just you guys. Mark is texting me on this. If you guys want to have text access to me, go to HeySmitty.com and order it. It's that simple. Mark, call up if you want, and we'll put you on if you got a question. Did I miss the ETN and Dillon segment? No, there's no ETN and Dillon segment yet, bro. There's no segment scheduled for ETN and Dillon, voice of reason. No segment scheduled yet. Oh, these new news. I got what you're saying. There's not a segment for it, but we're going to be talking about these guys in a second. So they're right here. I see what you're saying. I'm sorry, boys. My bad. I'm going to say this. I'm going to finalize it right here. This injury happened just early enough that the Rams can still bring in someone. That's what Crazy World says. What's up, Todd? What's up, Terry Roberts? What's going on, my man? So I'm going to say his new ADP for me is 7.1 to 7.4. That's where he should go. 7.1 to 7.4 is my Henry ADP advisory statement, if you will. Because we don't know what's going to happen. This is McVay. McVay's the reason I didn't like him. McVay's the reason I said to avoid, one of the reasons I said to avoid Akers, and the other reason was freaking injury. Try and trade Hendy to the Akers owner. I don't know, man. The Akers owner's probably quit for the season. Hey, Smitty, hope you had fun at that spot you were at. Philip, thank you, Philip. Yeah, I was at a nice little hotel here. I called. He said, okay, sorry, Mark. I'm calling you right now.
Hey, Smitty.
What's up, Mark? You're live on the Fantasy Football Show. Shows may be recorded for quality assurance and embarrassing moments. What's up, my man?
Oh, not much. It's nice having this direct line straight to you every day, 24 hours a day.
Yeah, nice upsell, Mark. I love it. Mark is a part of the HeySmitty.com text service. So, Mark, what do you got? What do you want to talk about?
Well, I was just, that injury, so I decided to trade my 3.8 for a 3.1, and I gave up a second-round pick and my 10th pick. It's our first year going into Dynasty. Just wondering if I'd done the right thing there.
So, repeat that one more time.
I traded my 3.8 pick for a 3.1 pick, and I also gave up a second-round pick and my 10th overall pick.
So the rookie second rounder, not concerned about that. Your 10th overall pick, you gave up. That is pick. Let's just I'll tell you who the players are right there. That's Jarvis Landry, Nyheim Hines, Curtis Samuel, Lat Murray, Alexander Madison, who I like, but you can get him, another round. Defenses: Waddle, Hollywood Brown, Mike Williams. Yeah, you're giving up that player and a almost worthless second round pick to move out of the range 3.8, where there's a massive drop off in talent, into a range where I just described on the show. The cutoff is like 3.2, 3.3, and then you no longer have the ability to grab guys that you could honestly say, he could be a top 1 to 5 player at his position. Mark, I love it. I told you that in the text message. But I mean, we're talking about at 3.1, Mark. We're talking about Justin Jefferson, J.K. Dobbins, A.J. Brown, Mike Thomas, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Those guys will probably be gone at 3.8. And even if I'm wrong and someone does slip, it's worth taking that chance of trading away a Jarvis Landry or a Curtis Samuel type player in a second rounder. Like, fantastic move. Where's your second rounder? You have what pick?
2.3.
So you have 2.3 and 1.8 and 1.8?
1.8, that's right.
So if Elliott's there, you take Elliott. Jonathan Taylor's not bad there. I'm avoiding Barkley even at 1.8 right now. I'm sure you probably feel the same way. Yeah, I've been fading him more and more over the weeks, and I think everybody's getting on board with that, man, because Barkley's, he's going to be fire once he's healthy, but he's an injury risk, and we don't know what he's going to be like, in week 1 if he even plays week 1. I've been telling you this, Mark, and I still firmly believe it. The best value at 1.8 could be Stephon Diggs if you can get like a Gibson or a player like that in round 2, like Harris. I think you can do some damage there. And now that you got the 3.1, you probably have some flexibility where you're going to see Clyde or JK there. So if you went Diggs,
that's what I was hoping. I didn't want to be caught without a good running back, so that's why I did that.
Yeah, you'll for sure get one now. If you go Diggs, even if you go Diggs at 1.8, which might shock people, or Adams, you'll probably get Gibby at that next pick, or you could get Harris, and then you'll probably get J.K. Clyde or Jefferson with that third pick.
And also Lamb might be there too. So
Yeah, and that's another unfortunate thing. Silva brothers dropping a super. Andrew Silva, appreciate that, man.
all right.
Yeah, I'm a little worried about where CD's going to climb, Clyde's going to climb. This Akers thing, it's going to impact the running backs big. Like Gibson may climb up into like the turn pick, so there's a shot you don't even get him in that second round pick now because Akers got hurt. So
Yeah.
it sucks, man. You could almost say Gibby's like a 12, 13 turn pick lock for me. You know, if the running backs don't fall right, because Barkley is now in a void for me. Akers has been taken out of the top 10, and I was counting on that, not because I was going to draft him. Akers is my biggest avoid, but because I was counting on other people taking him and pushing more guys down. Now I've got two players that were kind of expected to go above that 8 or 9 pick that aren't going to be taken. So I don't know where Gibby's going to get pulled into now.
That's just another reason I felt I need to, make that move to make sure about the running back.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Anything else?
I enjoyed talking to you, and y'all got a great show going today.
Thanks, buddy. Anything else before you leave?
No, that's all right now.
Okay.
Sit back and watch y'all.
All right. Well, I'll text you after the show, and we'll get your draft squared away.
Sounds great.
All right, Mark. Mark Cleveland, everybody. The man. Part of HeySmitty.com is what Mark is. Okay, Andrew Silva with the super chat. Let's go ahead and address this super chat question. Looks like I'm keeping Waller in the 6th round instead of Akers. When I had high hopes for Akers, yep, Andrew wasn't listening to me, but that's okay. Yeah, I'm glad you get to make your decision later. But as I say to people, drafting early, man, it may have its downsides, but it has way more upsides and appeal because you get to jump on everybody. And if you avoid guys like Akers or you trade them away, I would have been shopping Akers' keeper value because I don't like Akers anywhere near the top 12 overall. I didn't. Now, of course I don't. But I know other people value him at like 8 or 9. And, he's a good player to trade. Woulda, shoulda, coulda. And you know what, bro? You got a really good option in Waller. I don't know if you have any other options, bro, but Waller is not a bad keeper. You can get out of this one without getting burned. So excellent job, Andrew, having another option available to you with your great drafting of Waller the Baller, who I believe I had higher than anybody in the entire industry according to Fantasy Pros. I know Hawkinson was ranked higher than anybody in the industry. Right here, your man Smitty finished number 1 in the industry in tight end rankings in 2020, according to Fantasy Pros. Number 1. And Waller was a big reason why. And Andrew, fantastic job using that big brain on your shoulders, on your head, in your head, to draft the man they call Waller the mother freaking baller. He's so good, Herbert will punch you in the throat. That's how good Waller is. Rams running back is a guessing game. I'm not playing it, says Terry. Terry says, nope. No, sir. Whisper, says Philip. Why, Philip? Who's in the other room, Philip? Are you listening to another channel behind my back, Philip? Todd Gurley was pretty dang good, says Mr. B. I don't know what that was in reference to. What's your 74th favorite color? I don't know, bro. Gray. How do you feel about Troutman? I hear this question like, God, I get this. No offense, Jose. It's not a bad thing. I'm not saying it's bad, but I get this question a lot. There are a lot of people want to know what's going on with Troutman. He's the most popular guy in the room. Let's take a look at his stats because, to be honest, this hype is getting out of control. So Troutman last year had for the Sainty Poos. He had 171 yards and a TD. And I know everyone's just expecting him to be utilized and used. But, I mean, it's not like he blew up at any point during the year. He had a 17-yard game in week 2, 17-yard game in week 3. Nothing. 39 yards and a TD in week 9. Nothing. 19 yards on one catch. 8 yards, 9 yards, 12 yards, 0 yards, 45 yards, 5 yards, 4 yards, 0 yards. 1 TD, 171 yards. Like, I get the opportunities there, and I don't mind grabbing them as like a backup tight end, but I'm not drafting him to start him. There's too many other options like Tunyon, the number 4 fantasy football tight end from 2020, falling all the way to 10-11 round range. Logan Thomas was your number 3 tight end in 2020, and he's going at 9, 10, 11 round ranges. Higbee could get a huge uptick. Everett's decent in Seattle. Jared Cook, maybe. I'm not saying guaranteed, but last rounds of your draft, maybe you grab him because he could catch some footballs from our boy Herbert is the GOAT, and he'll punch you in the throat. And Fant, round 7. I just don't see a need to go the risky Troutman approach with all the potentially decent tight end options that we actually have that people pretend we don't. Everybody says that this is like, you know, the easiest or the hardest year to draft a tight end. I just don't agree. I just don't agree at all. Let me see if there's any other news bouncing around the league right now. Mr. B says Rodgers about to retire. Whatever, bro. Packers offered Aaron Rodgers a 2-year extension earlier this offseason. This could have kept Rodgers in Green Bay for the next 5 years, according to Schefter. The extension would have made him the highest paid player in football. Rodgers obviously rejected the offer, and that indicates a rift between him and the organization is really more than just money. Many had speculated that the new deal would bring Rodgers back, but it appears bad blood runs deep. This is an old report people are reflecting on to try and explain some things. Rodgers didn't opt out. That's the key to the Rodgers puzzle, is that if he did not want to play for Green Bay at all costs, and Green Bay is refusing to trade him, and Green Bay's not likely to backtrack now when they got called by San Fran and said, hello, this is Green Bay. This is Green Bay. And San Fran said, we don't believe in Jimmy G. What do you want for A-Rod? Green Bay says, we're not selling. Hung up the phone. It literally, Shanahan said the call was that quick. Shanahan said, Trey Lance is our pick. We love Trey Lance. Trey Lance is the man. That's how it went. Green Bay is not going to reject the number 3 overall pick and a whole bunch more, a trade package that was intended to probably get Watson at some point. Maybe A-Rod. That package was intended to do those things, and Green Bay said no. Green Bay's highly unlikely to backtrack now when they could have grabbed a hold of that number 3 now draft capital that they can use today, day 1 of life without Aaron Rodgers. And the only way they would backtrack and say, okay, God, we should have took that San Fran deal, but we'll do it now, and we'll do it for down the road. We signed Aaron Jones to an extension. No worries. We don't need to compete for the now. We'll go ahead and take some 2023, 2022. Give me an astronaut lunch that I could save until then. You know, put it in the freezer. We're good to go. We don't need anything now. Highly unlikely for Green Bay to do that. So if Aaron Rodgers felt very confident that the Green Bay Packers were not going to trade him, and he is very confident, I can tell you that they're not going to trade him, If there's a trade, it's Denver anyway. We're excited. In my opinion, it would be Denver. So unless there's some kind of rift that got worse behind closed doors that we don't know about, Rodgers walked into the GM's office, went into his personal restroom, and dropped an upper decker into the top bowl, left it there for weeks. His grandmother-in-law comes over to use the restroom and is alarmed at what's sitting in the top bowl. Something that we haven't heard of yet that's off the wall, that's changed the dynamic. Unless there's something hidden that we don't know, I don't see the Green Bay Packers trading A-Rod. My point being, A-Rod sitting there July 2nd, able to say, hey, Green Bay, roll it up real nice and tight and stick it right up, you know where. I'm opting out. COVID! Scared! Where's my mask? I don't have a mask anymore. I got rid of my masks. I'm scared. I'm opting out. That's all he had to do. He didn't even have to say pandemic. He could have said I'm scared of bumblebees. I don't want to get stung in 2021. I'm opting out because of bumblebees. I heard there's some bumblebees in Green Bay this time of year. I'm opting out. He would have been able to keep $11 million. Got a $6 million bonus, camp bonus he would have got, and not fined $2 million. There's no way. Why did I even get on this topic? Someone said something about A-Rod retiring. Oh, it's Mr. B. Way to derail the entire show, Mr. B. An upper decker that isn't taken care of, yes, gonna be a problem. Has anybody ever, I want someone to, don't lie, admit, has anybody ever dropped an upper decker or been a part of an upper decker type situation? Let me explain how an upper decker works. Here is your toilet bowl. Here is your toilet bowl. Inside the lid here, you take that lid off. You drop an upper decker deuce right into said bowl. Put the lid back on the bowl. The water that's collected in the bowl is responsible for filling up this bowl. Upper decker stays, floats around for weeks, creates really muddy waters, just like the trade negotiations going on in Green Bay. That's called an upper decker for those that are a little too young to even have had that situation maybe encounter itself. Vag with a super chat dropping deuces with Lance in my pants, says Vag. Attaboy, Vaggy, we appreciate you, boy. Dropping deuces with a Lance in my pants. Vaggy's in the door league. Appreciate you, Vag. Okay, I was in the Army and we had dudes dropping them on the shower floor. Let's get out of that conversation. I mean, we need to go that far. Fantasy season was an upper decker last year. It sure was, Todd. It sure was. Great breakdown. Thank you. Love that you had to explain that. Thank you, boys. Appreciate it. I'm sure a negative comment from Noah is on the way, about to drop, being typed as we speak. Why you gotta? What's wrong with upper deckers? This is Noah. What's wrong with upper deckers? They're sleepers. They're undervalued, Smitty. I think you're wrong. This is Noah. I like upper deckers. I'd draft one. Yeah, Najee Davenport. Kenny's got a point here. No one beats Najee Davenport. Najee Davenport was in the news. I don't know if he was a rookie or I think he was a rookie and he went back to the old dorm rooms to party. The Green Bay Packers running back Najee Davenport, and took a deuce in someone's dorm room closet at a party or something like that. That was all over the news. Imagine if we had social media back then. Someone live streaming Najee Davenport coming out of someone's dorm room closet because he couldn't hold it. Upper deckers are a sign of respect in my country, says Jimmy the drunk. Yeah, boy. Yeah, boy. Yeah, buddy. What's up, media? What's up, media? Maybe I'll get you on in a little bit. Okay. So we've talked about Akers. We've talked about how hopefully none of you drafted him. You know, and prayers up first and foremost. Okay. There's a business side of this, and I hate when people can't see that that's what I'm doing. It's not that I'm rejoicing ever in a player injury, and it's never that I want a player to get hurt. I don't even want a player to fail, you know, because that's their job. I want them to do well. I want them to prove me wrong. I was really critical of Mac Jones heading into the NFL. I'm actually rooting for Mac Jones. I'm rooting for Mac Jones. I hope Mac Jones proves everybody wrong. I hope Akers can bounce back from an injury that, let's be honest, is going to be very tough for him to ever recover from and be a top 5 to 10 running back. He won't be a first rounder probably ever again. He was a first rounder in a lot of people's minds. But I think the lesson to take away here is that risk is real. When you sniff it, trust your gut on it. And if you owned Akers and this happened, or you drafted Akers, ask yourself the honest question: did it feel risky? And can you learn from that and avoid players where you can? Could I be wrong about Nick Chubb? When I say avoid Nick Chubb, could I be wrong? Absolutely. I'm playing an odds game that feels very much in my favor, and when I'm wrong in this odds game contest where I say avoid Nick Chubb at 9 overall, especially with Akers going down, Nick Chubb's going to 7 or 8 overall. And I'm going to be even more on the don't draft Nick Chubb in 2021 train. He might surpass Swift. Right now it's Swift. Don't go near Swift. But if you draft Nick Chubb at 8, 9, 10, could I be wrong? I could. But if I'm wrong, I'm not losing any sleep over it, because what am I telling you to do instead? Am I going to feel bad that someone said, hey, Smitty, on my heysmitty.com, texting me at heysmitty.com, which you can do by going to heysmitty.com. Order 3-month, 6-month, and 12-month service right on the phone here. Hey, Smitty, should I take Cam Akers at 10? Or we're talking about Chubb. Because I said no to that the whole time. All these texts, you can ask them. Smitty, should I take Chubb at 10? And I say, no, Bob. Don't take Nick Chubb at 8 or 7 or 9 or 10. And let's say Nick Chubb ends up being a top 6 running back. Am I going to feel bad for Phillip? No, because I still told Phillip, and Phillip decided on his own accord because Phillip's a grown man. I'm helping Phillip. I'm not drafting for Phillip. I'm helping Phillip. I'm giving Phillip an assist and confirmation in text message form. Phillip still drafted Diggs. Phillip still drafted Ridley. Phillip still drafted a player that played very, very well. Even if I'm wrong on Nick Chubb, there's a lot of risk to avoid. Trust your gut and try and learn from the fact that there are players that just have a higher likelihood of getting hurt. And you can get mad all you want. There's going to be people that load into the comments, Smitty, I saw your video. That's crap. You can't predict injury on an Achilles tear. I never said I predicted injury on Achilles tear, but Cam Akers had a boatload of injury risk. I even had doctors on the show that talked about it as well, that he had a pretty high likelihood of injury risk because he had 3 separate injuries in his rookie year. 2 lower ankle foot injuries, 1 pretty serious rib injury where separated cartilage, running style, injury risk from college, inability to preserve his own body with his rushing style on an offense that's proven to be muddy with their running back situation. And don't tell me they weren't, because as a rookie, he only did stuff at the end. Yes, I have talked to some of those people about Derrick Henry, and I'll admit that majority of everyone on the planet thinks that Henry's got one more year left, although his dynasty ADP's at 3.1 to 3.8. You do the math. What does that tell you when everyone in dynasty won't touch him until their third drafted player? It tells you we're at a fine line where Derrick Henry's either going to drop off the face of the earth or he's going to have one more year. But who's crazy? Nobody. Nobody's crazy on either side of the debate. If you say, hey, Smitty, Henry's going to do one more big, massive, load-dropping performance in weeks 1 through 17, come into 2022 and lay an egg in week 1, I wouldn't call you crazy. I would say you have a very strong point, and you there's an opportunity for you to be right. But I just feel that once you get to a certain workload, you're on borrowed time. He's on borrowed time for staying healthy when he's had 700 carries within 2 years and will breach 1,000 carries. 1,000 carries before he even reaches the 2.8 mark in terms of 3 years played since we started calculating the 700 carries. So in a less than 3 year span backwards, he will have 1,000 carries. That is absolutely insane. That is absolutely insane. That is 333.333 carries a season over the course of 2.8 seasons. I could be wrong, and I'm fine with it. I just don't want to be holding the bag when Derrick Henry hits a wall. Let's talk about these other guys right here. ETN signed 4-year contract. Woo! Kind of underwhelming piece of news right there. After we just went through an hour and 10 minutes of Cam Akers talk. But look, I like ETN a lot at TNA. As some try to say, ETN. His name is renamed and rebranded the letters ETN. So get off my back if I want to say ETN. And ETN is very interesting. Very interesting because I'm not going to lie, there's risk. There's risk involved. I almost want to take it. I almost want to take the risk on, but it kind of depends on where the risk ends up lying. If he's going to fall in the high-end running back 2 range, I want no part of it. I'd rather take a safer player. But if we look at the ADP trends right now, ETN is falling into the 5.2 to 5.8 range. That's around Adam Thielen, Mark Andrews, Dak Prescott, Deontay Johnson, Raheem Mostert, Lamar Jackson, maybe Chris Godwin, Kareem Hunt. So I will say that feels about appropriate. So if ETN doesn't climb any higher, I'm okay with him in the 5th round in one league maybe. I don't know that I bank on him in multiple leagues at 5th round value. I feel like that's breaching the point where it's going to be hard for him to deliver even if he disappoints. Right now, he can kind of deliver if he disappoints, but it's like borderline. And I like my players when I draft them to be able to explode from their ADP and even on a disappointing year likely earn the value. Example, J.K. Dobbins in round 3. Win your league. And on Instagram, I've been touting the 3 running backs that can win your league in the 3rd round. That kind of got derailed. Say goodbye to the toilet. Actually, let's take a photo for IG of the toilet. Three running backs that can win a league for you in the 3rd round. 3 3rd round running back league winners. But this show, Akers' injury, kind of threw a wrench in that. Because the not three running backs, three players. Number one was Justin Jefferson, who was borderline 3.1. So he was getting taken in the second round on occasion, and in very bad leagues where people don't know what they're doing, he'd fall to like 3.5. So his ADP was about 3.1. Number two is J.K. Dobbins. ADP is around 3.1 to 3.7. And then number three is Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And then really 4 is CeeDee Lamb, but CeeDee doesn't always fall. CeeDee's been going around 3. So I kind of wasn't really going to mention CeeDee Lamb, but I want to make sure he's on there. The problem is Clyde's ADP was 3.1 to 3.8. The problem is with the Akers injury, there's a very, very, very good chance that every single one of these players is now in the second round. Every single one of these players might have vaulted into the second round because they were all borderline 3. Like at 3.1, you probably weren't going to see all 3 of them. At 3.1, you were probably going to see 1 or 2 of them. Now you might be lucky to see 1, and you may not see any of them. CeeDee Lamb was borderline 3.8 to 4.8, and he might dip less into this 3.8 range now that you got Akers off the board. So maybe he's more like 3.6 to 4.6 or 4.5. You know what I mean? Like people are going to be looking for upside. There's a lot of reasons that players climb more than just one spot when a guy goes down. People start looking for upside. They start changing the way they think about stuff. They might not even be wanting to draft a running back anymore because look at Akers and how injury prone running backs are. People might start leaning more wide receiver. You don't know how it's going to react. But CeeDee Lamb from round 4, this is why CeeDee Lamb's not on this list really, is because he can go in round 4 in a lot of very novice leagues. So he's a 4th round league winner. So the 3rd round league winners are Jefferson, J.K. Dobbins, and Clyde. I just am afraid that we're going to see maybe one of them if we're lucky in the 3rd round now. So that's what I've been touting on IG. I'm going to drop 3 players that can win you a league in round 3. Now Akers is just throwing a whole wrench into everything. Okay. So ETN, I'm going to say 5th round, acceptable in 1 league. Be cautious with him. AJ Dillon, the Packers coach, Big Biggity Ben in Green Bay will lean on AJ Dillon a lot more this year. Tough to know if this is like Sermon is talking like coach speak here. Tough to know. They said they were going to use him more last year. Or they were going to use him last year, not more, but use him last year. They didn't use him a whole lot. I think that they probably will this year. We're seeing a lot of buzz and hype around him. More than last year because he's had a year, under his belt. AJ Dillon looks, ripped and fit and ready to rumble. Let me see what his stats were last year. They're very, very small, very insignificant. AJ Dillon. Rookie year was 242 yards and 2 TDs. Let me see if I can get his game log pulled up. I don't see his game log showing up right here, but 242, 100-yard game though. But I think the important thing here is that if you own Aaron Jones, you have to own AJ Dillon. Alexa, show me the front door. I feel like we got a delivery coming today. I forget. Mailman. Did you draft Cam Akers? I'm sorry. Man. A.J. Dillon. Computer, tell me about A.J. Dillon.
Here's the Wikipedia article on A.J. Dillon. Algiers Jamal Williams Dillon Jr. is an American football running back for the Green Bay Packers of the National Football League. He played college football at Boston College. Would you like me to keep reading?
Yes.
Section 2, Early Life and High School Career. Dillon began his high school football career at New London High School in Connecticut. As a junior and senior, he attended Lawrence Academy in Groton, Massachusetts. As a junior, he rushed for 1,887 yards and 26 touchdowns.
26.
As a senior, he played in only 4 games due to a broken leg, but rushed for 635 yards with 12 touchdowns.
12 TDs.
He ran a 4.56 40-yard dash
Beast.
and was named MVP of Nike's opening. Dillon originally committed to the University of Michigan to play college football, but eventually flipped his commitment and signed with Boston College. Would you like me to continue?
No. Thank you. Okay, so where were we? A.J. Dillon. You heard from Margarita herself. Margarita said that this man scored 26 touchdowns in a college season. Broke his leg. I don't know how you break a leg that big, but he broke it. And, there's some injury concern there. Spacula with the super chat. Attaboy. Did I miss another super chat? Todd, I'm so sorry. Todd, are you there, Todd? I just saw your super chat, bro. Let me read Todd's first. He was here first. My avatar for you, Smitty. The GOAT with boxing gloves. Herbert about to punch us in the throat. Todd, I appreciate you. I hope you're still here, bro. I apologize not seeing that. Spatula says, only game A.J. Dillon had 20 carries and he had 20 carries for 120 yards and 2 TDs. 2 tutties. Sign me up for A.J. Dillon in the late 7th round. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I appreciate your super chats, young men. Both of you. Todd's still here, attaboy. Let's go ahead and rank the super handcuffs right now. Super handcuffs, baby. Number 1. You could make a case for A.J. Dillon here. Now, super handcuffs are a thing that I coined in the industry a while ago. People use it all the time now. It's a running back that can produce. I mean, technically, it could be a quarterback too. It could be Trey Lance. But a running back traditionally that can produce almost near as good elite top 10 running back numbers as the starter ahead of him. So you have like Pollard. I may move these around a little bit. I'm just going to write them out. So you have Pollard, you have Madison. A lot of people hate Madison right now, which is good news for those that believe in him because he did badly in one of the games he filled in for Cook. And then that was like mid-season-ish last year. And then in week 17, he blew up and had 2 TDs and 100 total yards and looked great. But people don't remember that game. They remember the dud game that he had. Dillon. Now, I'm not saying this is my exact ranking yet. I'm feeling like this right now. The only reason that makes me a little cautious of dropping Madison down is that Cook is a walking freaking injury. And I love Dalvin Cook. I love him. I love Cook and Madison cuffed together. But I get a really uneasy feeling about Dalvin Cook in 2021. And I just need you all to hear me and know that I feel very, very uneasy. This man has a tough time not crawling off the field as if he's done for the entire season. Like, I don't know how many of you owned Dalvin Cook last year, but there were at least 3 or 4 occasions where Dalvin Cook was either carried off the field, looked like he was completely done for the year, limped off the field with people on people's shoulders like he was done, on the ground. There were at least 3 to 4 occasions where he was completely done in my mind for the whole entire year. And I owned him in a ton of leagues. So your heart sinks. You remember these traumatic experiences. And I worry about Dalvin Cook staying healthy. He feels like such an injury-prone player that skated by last year. And, I owned him. I loved him. I've been touting Dalvin Cook for a long time. It might be time to worry about Dalvin Cook. And so Madison's a very, very important super handcuff. But super handcuffs are standalone players. I don't have to draft any one of the starters. They just happen to be cuffed to an elite situation and production by the running back one. I feel like these guys are league-winning guys to grab. This man right here, Tony Pollard, is so talented. If Elliott were to go down, he would be a top 6 to 10 fantasy football running back in games started. Madison, they drafted another running back. He could potentially, I think he was a third rounder, could potentially get in the mix. You might have to look into both Madison and him to make sure that you're cuffing them appropriately, Cook. Lat Murray may still have a little bit left in the tank, enough that okay, so let me put it this way. I don't know if you guys remember D'Angelo Williams for the Steelers. He was the 1 year top 3 running back breakout for Carolina, and then he went to Pittsburgh and was a backup, and he was asked to start some games, and for 6-7 games he could be a top 10 running back. So I feel like Murray still has that. I think if Kamara went down today and Murray had to start an entire year, he would break down, he wouldn't hold up. For, let's say Kamara was to go down week 10, I think you could get top 10 running back numbers out of Murray for a shorter, not a very short, but a shorter string of games, half of a year or less. So he has that super handcuff potential. I may put a tier break though and say he doesn't have the upside that a Dillon has. Dillon has probably the most standalone value while the starter is still upright and doing damage. So if you want the guy that's most capable even without an injury to still be flex worthy, AJ Dillon can get you 10 TDs without Aaron Jones getting hurt for the year. So, and Aaron Jones is probably likely to miss 1, 2, 3, 4 games. He feels very capable of that. And he's always been injury prone. The last 2 years he's been really good and solid. It's because he's come right to camp. He's come prepared and right, and his nutrition's on point. And so he's been bringing the thunder the last couple years, but he has had an injury label that is hard to just shed because a lot of it has to do with his work ethic and stuff. When he's on point, he stays healthy. But the most TD potential and scoring likely player out of all these guys would be Dillon. Trying to find some other super handcuffs for you. So it would be, you can't use Kareem Hunt because he has standalone 5th round value. He's not a cuff. He's a standalone player. Javonte Williams is not a super handcuff. He's the starter. Melvin Gordon's the cuff. I don't care if Javonte's not even named the starter yet. He is the starter. James Robinson's not a cuff. ETN's not a cuff. These are standalone running backs. Trey Sermon, you could say, is a cuff in a way right now to some people, but he's got value that really makes him, worth what Dillon's worth or more. You could even put him up here, but he's almost not a cuff because everyone's drafting him as though he's going to start games. They're not drafting him as any kind of cuff or any kind of late quarterback. So it's tough to put, Sermon in this group, but if you feel Sermon is the backup right now, then he needs to be on this list. And you could say Sermon has the value of this range if you want. You could easily argue Sermon is 2 or 3 on this list if you are going to qualify him. Gus Edwards, I would say there's a tier break and Gus is potentially there. He's not necessarily he's kind of in a committee, but he is the backup in my eyes. And then I would say the last guy would be Chuba Hubbard. So Chuba is a must own for all Kamara owners. If he got in there, if Hubbard got in there, he could be the top guy. We don't necessarily know if could we be looking at a situation where if Kamara went down, would Chuba Hubbard for sure be the guy, or could they roll with some kind of rotation and it not be what we thought? Could be. You know, that there's some risk there. But I would say that if he ends up locking down the backup role, and if he was to ever be called upon and get starter touches, get the kind of workload that Mike Davis was fed, Chuba Hubbard will be the number one player on this list. So it's a pretty deep super handcuff crew in 2021. Pollard, Madison, Dillon, Latmurray, Sermon, and Chuba Hubbard. And I don't know if I'm forgetting anybody. I don't really consider Jamal Williams or, you know, that Swift and Williams situation to be part of this. I don't really feel that yeah. I think I got it all covered. I think these are the guys. Gus Edwards is worth mentioning, and he could certainly do well if called upon. Again, Etienne and James Robinson are not a part of this. Kareem Hunt and Chubb are not a part of this. Devontae Williams is a starter in my mind. He's not a part of this. Those are your super handcuffs heading into 2021. Own them. Own them. Mr. B says, oh yeah, about... Let's see what Mr. B's saying. Oh yeah, about Sermon. He is stud. You were right. Thank you, Mr. B. I appreciate you coming in here and making it right, bro. Still a lot to go. He's still got a lot to prove, so I don't know if I'll call him a stud yet. On his way, baby. Love him. Looks so elite, and the offense is going to produce for him, man. It's going to produce for him. Hang with me, Mr. B. I know sometimes you have adamantly disagreed with me, and I don't know if Akers was one of those topics, bro, but stick with me. There's method to my madness and madness to my method, bro. Okay, Legion. Check free agency offer. I got Woods, Thomas, and Swift in free agency. Not bad. I don't mind getting Woods and Swift in free agency. I tried to trade Swift on the high, but that's me. Oh, we went to running backs. Now we're on fantasy football court. Hit me with your questions. Bring them in. Drop it like it's hot. We've got 29 minutes of fantasy football court. It begins now. Judge Smitty is in session, presiding over the fantasy football show community. I will be your judge. I will execute all of the orders of the court, and I will commence the court under thy precinct of the flux capacitor. Marty, 3.42 adjourned. In session. 3.5, do I draft Waller or CD? You can't go wrong with either, and it depends on how good you are at building your team a certain way. If you're a tight end, awesome tight end drafter in the third round pick, do it. But CD Lamb, I lean toward because I like Fant in 7, and I don't know that I'm going to like the team as much going Waller and wide receiver later. But try and get CD in round 4. Maybe you can end up with both. Vag. Here we go. All these questions here. Okay. I'm going to go speed round here. Lawrence or Lance long term? Give me both of them, bro. Don't make me choose. I'm going to say Lawrence long term, but I love both of them. Oh, man, that's a tough one. I think this quarterback rookie crew is going to have 3, including Wilson, elite players. No, Fields is not in it. Is Henderson a 2-back or flex? Treat him like a flex. Draft him like a flex. Don't reach for him because a lot can still happen. McVay's at the controls here, bro. It's not about Hendy. It's about McVay. So how do you rate Kittle's injury as far as impacting his season coming up? You talking about the 100% torn labrum that he's been playing with? He's got a harness. It kind of stabilizes the shoulder. You talking about that injury, bro? Badge, I'll check back with you. Bring more facts and paperwork to your court session next time. Clyde Edwards-Helaire or Dobbins? Even, bro. I'm going to say JK and Clyde are both climbing into the 2.12 range. Unfortunately, the Cam Akers is going to pull those two bad boys up into the second round on more of the regular than we will appreciate, because these are two of our boys right here, Clyde boy and JK boy, and we love them, and they're ours. We own them. We're the ones that support these two, and I'm going to say that they both have top 5 running back appeal, 5 to 10. We'll give them a 5 to 10. Little wiggle room there. I feel like Clyde has less risk. I actually like Clyde more. Next question. Who is this year's Diggs in your opinion? I think Kenny Golladay has potential to be that. I'm a biased Giants fan. Look, we all had Kenny G in our 6 to 12, maybe 6 to 10 overall in 2020 walking into the season. How quickly everyone forgets. Let's see here. What am I doing? How quickly everyone forgets. I'm getting messages left and right. Golladay could be, I don't know, I would say like a safe 10 to 15 guy. I don't think I count on 6 to 10 anymore in 2021. But Golladay is a very, very safe like 10 to 12 to 15 guy. 12 to 15. We'll call it 12 to 15. Do I think he's Diggs? No. Diggs was a guy we ranked near like, you know, near the elite crew, like maybe the bottom of the top tier guys. Kind of like CeeDee Lamb. Kind of like Justin Jefferson. Kind of like I'd say Jefferson. Jefferson is the most potential to, I think, climb everyone's mind, like in everyone's mind, to the top 1 to 2 to 3 wide receiver spots, which is where Diggs is. So I assume that's kind of what you mean. CeeDee Lamb. I'm going to go CeeDee Lamb and Jefferson have the most potential to do what you believe Diggs did, which Diggs to me is the number 1 wide receiver. So maybe you're asking that question wrong because you don't realize how high I am on Diggs. Diggs is my number 1 wide receiver in fantasy football in 2021 redraft. I like Jefferson and Lamb to be the dark horse 1 to 5 potential guys. I want to make a negative comment, but you're a Giants fan, so your life is hard enough. That was a pretty negative comment right there, Mr. B. Where do you have Eddie Lacy in your rankings? You know what's funny about that, Johns? When Eddie Lacy was a rookie, I called him a monster potential bust. What did Eddie Lacy do his rookie year? Did pretty well. And people got excited. I think he was good for a year and a half or 2 years. What was it? And I looked like a fool. But I felt that he was going to disappoint, and he ended up disappointing. So I was a little bit late on predicting that, but Eddie Lacy was so overhyped, man. And he was in a good situation and did well. I know you're joking with that question, but it's kind of funny because I had him ranked so low and I got ripped for it. Pick 2 in Dynasty: Higgins, Ayuk, Jerry Jeudy. Give me Jerry Jeudy, then Ayuk, then Higgins. CEH will eat this year, says Swaggy. Swaggy, that is correct. You came correct into the court today, bringing truth and knowledge. Okay. Goat says, I meant a late rounder wide receiver who could pop off this year. But anyway, thanks, Smitty. Well, Goat, I don't know if Diggs was like a late rounder. Like a lot of people liked him. A late rounder, I would say Jerry Jeudy, bro. I would say Jerry Jeudy. I would say Devontae Smith has some of that potential. I would say Chase Claypool has some of that late explosion potential. Darnell Mooney has some of that potential. If we're getting really deep, Mike Williams and Darnell Mooney are late. We're talking like 35 to 40 type wide receiver. Has that potential. Chart could bounce back. Elijah Moore is a rookie, could do well. I said Chase Claypool. I said Devontae Smith and Jerry Jeudy. And then past that, we're at a range that's already pretty high. So hopefully that wets your beak a little bit, bro. I appreciate you, Goat. Legion. The whole Washington football team offense will eat this year, says Legion. I guess. You put that into context, like, are they going to eat like Buffalo? No. Are they going to have a good season? Yes, sir. Is Gibson going to go off? Absolutely. Can Gibson be a top 5 to 10 running back? You bet your bottom dollar he can be. I'll be smoking this pipe watching Gibson rumble and stumble in 2021. And McLaurin has himself the potential and makings of a top 10 to 12 wide receiver. T. Higgins will be that guy drafted in the 6 to 7 rounds range at his top 12 potential. He could be therapist. I just think Chase will be the guy, but Burrow could be so good that we have 2 guys, bro. Amari Cooper's still good with CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb's still good with Amari Cooper. You know what I'm saying, bro? Matt wants to know Sermon. We're going to do a 1. We're going to do a 2. We're going to do a 3. Ow. Sermon or Javonte? Javonte by quite a bit right now because he's looking like he's potentially going to start week 1 or get a boatload of carries. Melvin Gordon, will he be suspended? He's on borrowed time. Several Denver beat writers are predicting a start out of Javonte Williams in week 1, which is crazy cool. Javonte Williams, if news broke that Melvin Gordon broke his leg and he was out, Javonte Williams would climb to 3.1, maybe 2.12. He would be below Harris, but barely below Harris. People don't understand how good Javonte Williams is. You soon will know. You soon will know. Doesn't mean I don't love Sermon, but Sermon's on a whole different risk level in terms of situation. Javonte Williams feels like this. Let's go to the board. Let's go to the board, Matt. Court is in full session. Weeks 1 through 17. This is playing at a 10 level, playing at a 0 level. Javonte Williams is probably going to start off playing like this. And it's going to go like that. Yeah, man, maybe he's a rookie and he'll be like that. But he's going to be playing at a 8 to 10 level. Trey Sermon, we'll use in red. Trey Sermon could potentially start off like this. We don't even know. He could start off here, but Trey Sermon is more than likely going to have a period of time that is maybe shorter. It could be as good, it could be higher, but it's not going to be all season long. I don't think. It could be, and that's where we'll move him up. But Trey Sermon feels like the kind of guy that could have something that looks like this. That feels like Trey Sermon's potential path. Not a guarantee. He could be like Javonte Williams, but Javonte Williams is in this driver's seat where he's going to get right in there. So, could this be above? It could. And that's why we like Sermon, right? That's why we think Sermon can win leagues. But Sermon's also going several rounds later, so you don't really even have to make this decision. But that's kind of how the Sermon and Javonte Williams chart goes, bro. Outlook on Amari. I mean, he's going to do well. But it's CeeDee Lamb season. That's all I can say. Court has already determined that in previous case, Lamb versus the people in 2021 of January. In January of 2021, Lamb versus the people, we already decided that it was CeeDee Lamb's season. There's no need to bring up a previous case in retribution of the tale that is Amari Cooper as the wide receiver 1 in 2021. This is a nothing burger of a case, and we've thrown it out several times in this courtroom. And I will not allow Amari Cooper to rise up and take the spotlight away from CeeDee Lamb season versus the people. Mike Thomas or McLaurin? I'm going to say that Mike Thomas is the better bet, or the maybe a little bit riskier play. Like, McLaurin's safe, but Mike Thomas has a potential to be a top 4 to 7 wide receiver. McLaurin's like 5 to 8. So no disrespect to either one. I love both of them. If you want safety, McLaurin might be your guy. So Melvin Gordon is no longer a thing. Who's Melvin Gordon, Mr. B? Maybe he gets a call from the Rams, bro. Maybe the Rams say, hey, it's McVay. Is Melvin Gordon available? Don't let him drive over. We'll pick him up. He can't. Yeah. Don't let him drive. We'll pick him up. We'll trade for him. Yep. Keep him away from the bar. We'll be right over to pick up Melvin Gordon. Thank you. We'll be right over. That's McVay. Okay? He might do that. I can see it. Smitty, I love your Jerry Jeudy take. Julian, Jerry Judy's take, the Jerry Jeudy take loves you. Herbert is the best QB value at his current ADP. I don't know that I 100% lock that in, because Josh Allen at 4.5 to 5.04 gets me pretty giddy, bro. I think if I walked into my restroom after drafting Josh Allen at 4.10 even, and I saw an upper decker sitting there, I think I'd be in too good of a mood to be upset. I don't think I could be upset after a day where I drafted Josh Allen. Let's say at 5.2. I don't think 5 upper deckers that have been there a week and I just found out about it wouldn't even concern me. I'll be excited. This court does not get unhappy when we get Josh Allen in that late 4th or top 5th round. We get pretty excited. I think, to your point, Todd, Herbie is one of the best values in fantasy football. Don't drive over. Yes, sir. What's up? What's up? What's up, Kay? What's up, Bap? Okay. Can my Falcons get Melvin then? They don't need Melvin. They've got a guy named Mike Davis who's dropping a ton of points and will be in the best fit for that Falcons offense, who they don't have a 1,000-yard rusher. They've got a guy that could do really well, though, and absorb a lot of that scoring potential, catch footballs, because they'll be dumping them off to Mike Davis a lot. Vacated targets. I know Pitts is going to absorb a lot of the Julio Jones vacated targets, but Mike Davis is a receiving specialist and a red zone specialist. They're going to use him a ton. I like Mike Davis. You don't need Melvin Gordon there. Why cloudy up the waters with Melvin Gordon in Atlanta, bro? New fantasy term, a coach that fully utilizes a running back by committee is now an upper decker because he muddies the water up. Yes, an upper decker. I like it, Todd. Let's put that into effect. Rule number, hey, Nancy, we're going to go ahead and type up that order, that new rule. Let's instate it. It's called Upper Decker 5.73. A coach that misuses his running backs and muddies up the water is now deemed an upper decker. Rank Jefferson, Ridley, and Allen. I'm going to say easily Jefferson, Ridley, space, Allen. And that's not to say I don't love Allen, but I'm putting a space in there, and it's my show. What are your thoughts on Chase, Higgins, and Burrow stack if you get it? Look, I don't hate stacking in that way, but you have to do it in a way that's not like impacting your team. Burrow, you're getting in round like 6 or round 7 or 8, right? You're getting Higgins in like 7 to 8, 9. Hopefully, you don't reach on him. You know, I don't take Higgins in 5. If you get Higgins at 6 or whatever, I'm okay with that. And then Jamar Chase, you're getting like in round 5. You got to ask yourself, will you have enough firepower to weather through a bad Cincy game? Odds are you will. I don't think, since you're not spending a single top 4 round pick on that trio, you'll probably be okay. And you can still win games when your Bengals aren't doing well. I don't hate it. I just don't think it's like a recipe for like success that I'm attacking. Wow, I like Allen over DK. I don't blame you, Julian. It's more about staying healthy for Allen. He's going to get fed a ton, and I love Herbert. Herbert's the man. Half PPR, Odell Beckham Jr. or Mike Davis at flex. That's not even close, GOAT! Take a lap. Take a lap.
Take a lap.
Take a lap. Take a lap. Take a lap. Take. Not even. What's Odell done? What's Odell done, GOAT? What can you bring to the table that makes me feel confident that Odell's going to not only do something, but stay healthy? All Mike Davis did was fill in for Christian McCaffrey. Okay. Is someone recording the draft tonight? I am. When does the draft begin? I think it's at 6. So as soon as I get off the live here, I have a small break, and I haven't even announced that yet. I have a small break, and then we go live for the IG Experts draft. Let me see. It starts at 9:30 Eastern, right? Let me just send a message to the guys. So I'll be live streaming a draft. That means that in less than 2 hours and 2.5 hours, right around 2.5 hours, I will be live again. Did you guys know that? I'll be live for an hour and a half, at least, doing an expert live draft, the IG Experts League. My boy Couch and Expert, Fantasy Football Expert, put this on. Go to my IG and follow them, and we'll be drafting live. Just confirming the time. Yes, the time is 6:30 p.m. Eastern. I'm sorry, 9:30 p.m. Eastern, so 6:30 p.m. Pacific time. That will be in roughly an hour, 2.5 hours. 2.5 hours from now. And let me just see here. Let me see who's followed me. I told you I'd shout you out. Anybody that follows me on IG. Roland, B. Roland followed. Bear followed. And then, of course, my boy Rem. We'll call him Rem. My boy Rem followed. And anybody else follows, I'm going to throw you up here. Okay, court's in session. What are we doing here? Do not trade Lockett and Mike Davis for Devontae Smith. Yeah, I would keep Lockett and yep. Should be noted that both Burrow and Herbie are both going outside of the first 6 to 7 rounds in tons of mock drafts so far. Look, if you can get Herbert in 6 or 7, you are crowned champion of the day, and you need to take advantage of that. Herbie will go anywhere between 5 and 7, just depends on the league. Oh God, I think I'm on the clock in another draft. I do so many drafts, I don't even know what I'm doing back there. Am I up again? I'm up again. Okay, who do I take right here, guys? I'm on the clock. Who do I take right here? I'm on the clock. I've got Adams, Gibson, and nobody, like everyone and their mother got sniped. I've got Adams, Gibson, and Mahomes. It's one of the only drafts I have Mahomes in because I wait for Josh Allen. I love Josh Allen. But right now, I have Adams, Gibson, Mahomes, so I can really go in any direction I want. Running backs available: Sanders, no thank you. Monty, Jacobs, Gaskin, ETN, Mike Davis, Kareem Hunt, Javonte Williams, James Robinson. Oh man, this is brutal. What is this, a 15, 16 team league? McLaurin's available. I don't mind McLaurin here. Julio Jones, Mike Evans, Godwin, Jamar Chase, Galladay. Man, it got thin quick. Is there anybody like hiding that I love that shouldn't be available? I don't see anybody. Ayuk. What do you guys think? McLaurin? Monty or McLaurin? I kind of like Monty, and running backs are falling off the board quick. Monty's out to prove some stuff in 2021. Go wide receiver. So, yeah, I love Gibson. No, I took Gibson already. Monty or Travis Etienne if available. CH says Monty. Malachi says go Monty. So if I go Monty, I'm going to have Adams, Gibson, Monty, Mahomes. It's not bad. I'm going Monty. It was a tough draft slot. Like literally, when I was on the clock with this Mahomes pick, it was DJ Moore, Allen Robinson, Chris Carson. I know some of you like Chris Carson, but I don't. DeAndre Swift, Woods, Kupp, and Monty. So I'm like, okay, do I take DJ Moore? No. I like a lot of guys as much as DJ Moore. Do I take Allen Robinson? Some of you might, but I don't see him as a guy that like trumps other players there. Carson, I'm not a huge fan of Carson. There was no one left. Swift, it was a brutal pick, man. So I took Mahomes and Monty. That's not bad for a third and fourth round pick. You could even say Monty's third round arguable at the end of the third round, but a fourth round running back, Gibson and Monty's pretty decent. Adams and Mahomes, I kind of like it. Tough draft slot from this. I don't know if this is a 14-teamer or what. Tough draft slot from 9. It's thinning out quick. Oh, McLaurin has more upside than Monty, in your opinion? Yeah, I mean, I was tempted. I was tempted, bro. Okay, final questions here in Fantasy Football Court. What do you got for me? Fire them away. Fire them away. Carson was gone. I was saying at the third round pick, I wasn't taking Carson. So I took Mahomie. With Akers hurt, where would you take Henderson? Bro, we have an entire 30 minutes dedicated to this, so go rewatch the show. I still appreciate you, sports dude. In general, we're saying end of 6 to top of 7. If you're talking about round 5, you're taking him over Javonte Williams, you're taking him over Mike Davis, you're taking him over Jamar Chase. No, I'm not. I like Hendy, but part of why I didn't like Akers, and I screamed from the rooftops for all of you to stay away from him, was part injury risk, half injury risk at least, and half coaching, decision making, and how they operate with usage at the running back position. So the draft is live on YouTube in 2 hours and 30 minutes. Come back. I will be live streaming the draft in 2 hours and 30 minutes here on YouTube. Don't you miss it. It'll be tonight in 2 hours and 30 minutes at 9:30 p.m. Eastern here on my YouTube channel. We're doing a live expert draft. Your man Smitty in a 2 QB, or it's a super flex league, where I've got the 5 draft slot. I don't know who I'm going to take. I don't know who's going to fall. You guys can give me your opinion. I can't wait. Oh no, Penn State. You're not asking this question. Saquon Barkley or Elliott, who do you like better? Penn, you can't draft Barkley as high as you're drafting Elliott right now. There's just too much risk, my man. There's just too much risk. Elliott's top 5 to me overall. Top 5, 6, 7. Barkley, I don't know that I'd take Barkley over Diggs at the end of round 1. I probably go with Gibson in round 2 and wide receiver in round 1. Adams over going Barkley and rolling that dice, bro. Give me Gibson in 2, Adams in 1 all day long over Barkley in 1 and a wide receiver in 2. You know what I'm saying, bro? I've been saying it for weeks now. Stay away from Barkley at that 4, 5, 6, but people haven't been listening. People haven't been listening to that. They've been listening to my Cam Akers rants, my DeAndre Swift. No one's paying attention to me this year. Except for Terry Roberts. Is Trey Lance good with the last pick in... Yeah, Trey Lance isn't going to fall to the last pick in most drafts. I mean, let me tell you something, man. I don't know if you've heard of the Scott Fish Bowl, but Scott Fish Bowl is a redraft league, 2 QB, and Trey Lance is going in rounds 5 to 8 overall in a redraft league because the Scott Fish Bowl has massive quarterback scoring, and you get points for first down runs. You get minus, I think 6 for or minus 4 for INTs, and Trey Lance, even not starting week 1 in most people's projection, I kind of think there's a shot he starts week 1. You wait. Just wait till things kind of unfold. We're very early on. Trey Lance has a lot of time to impress. But even with Trey Lance not starting week 1 in almost everyone's mind, he's going in the 5th and 6th round in Scott Fish Bowl. So last round pick in a league, I'd take him. Yeah, Scott Fish Bowl is weird, though. People look at that and they act like know-it-alls. They're like, that's too early. Like, you don't know the league, bro. You know what I'm saying? Trade Tyler Lockett and Mike Davis for Devontae Smith in Dynasty League. Matt wants to know. Okay, there's a Dynasty question. That's tough. Okay, earlier I said don't do it because I thought it was redraft. But you're talking about Dynasty? I don't know, man. That is a tough one because it all depends on how good you think Devontae Smith's going to be. I personally believe that Jamar Chase and Devontae Smith are going to be top 7 wide receivers in fantasy football within about a calendar year of the beginning of the season. So, entering year 2, maybe halfway through year 2, Devontae Smith gets there. He could get there right away. I would say this is really, really tough. It's not an easy question to answer because if you can win now and get some of that bling, then it feels very, very solid to keep Mike Davis. Roll that option out there in 2021. I don't know how confident I feel like you have any long-term value though past like 2 years. So Lockett, where's Lockett going to be valued in 2 years from now? You know what I mean? So is this a long-term league? Will it collapse and fall apart? Is it with 5 of your cousins that you don't even talk to anymore and they barely pay the entry fee and it's going to collapse in 2 years anyway? Then roll with the now potential. But is it a league that's long-term that isn't going anywhere? Then I kind of lean toward rolling the dice on Devontae Smith, even though it feels uncomfortable to do now. But that's only if you can't win some of that cash walking into this season. You know what I'm saying? Also, I would like all of you to know that if you go to smitty1.com, let me pull this bad boy up. Go to smitty1.com and pull up this right here. I want all of you to know that I will call you and give you a phone call. Let's see, my mouse is freezing. There we go. Right here. Go to smitty1.com. Scroll down to the bottom or middle of the page and click on this banner right here. Prize Picks. Okay? Sign up. Minimum deposit, I believe, is $25. And not only will you get matched up to $100 on your first deposit if you're new to Prize Picks, but I will give you a free 15-minute draft call. We'll call right before your draft or, after if you want to discuss what trades to make or whatever. Drop a $25 deposit on a new Prize Picks account. So you have to be new. Prize Picks. Go to smitty1.com. Okay, right here. You got to go there and click on this banner from my page. You can't just go there. You got to go from my page, smitty1.com. It will pre-enter promo code Smitty for you. Okay? Go do that right now. Play Prize Picks. It is so fun. You can literally pick like 3 players. Like you go Jonathan Taylor, 1,200 yards over or under. Cam Akers was, over or under 1,200 yards. So if you'd already picked under and he got hurt, you were going to win that part of that piece of it, of the contest. Then you pick another person. Then you can click a box where you can multiply it times 5. If you get all 3 of them, you can't get one of them right. You have to get all 3 of them right, and you can make 20 bones turn into 100. So it's so fun to play. But more importantly, I will call you and we'll do a draft call, prep call, after call, 15 minutes. Go to smitty1.com. Click on the Prize Picks banner. It says Prize Picks right here. Deposit 20. Turn my finger the right way. Deposit 25 bucks or more. They match up to 100 and get a free phone call. Go do it right now. Prize Picks. And there's some awesome over-unders on there. Like Jonathan Taylor's was really good. Let me pull it up real quick. Jonathan Taylor's was really good. Where was it? I'll pull it up next time because we got to get going. But definitely get over there now. I'll be looking for those. Just DM me a screenshot on Instagram or email it to me, and I will give you your phone call. Go Suns. Suns in probably 7. I'm realistic. At this point, it has to be, right? I can't see Suns in 6. I can't see Suns in 5. I can't see Suns in 4. I'm going to say probably the Suns in 7. They've got to obviously win tonight. I'm being optimistic. I'm feeling a little bit, I guess, down about it, but I feel like, it's one game at a time. I think if we can tackle this game, then everything's good. But it's daunting to have to win 2 games. I do feel that way, especially this game tonight. But Suns in 7. Keep the faith. Last question. Can anyone tell me when the door drafts? The door league will be soon, bro. I would say like August 1st or something like that. So Mr. B says he sucks at daily fantasy at DFS. That's what's great about Prize Picks, bro. Is if you play Prize Picks, let me see if I can pull it up again. If you play Prize Picks, bro, you can just do over-unders. You don't have to play the daily part of fantasy football. The over-unders are season-long contest too. So it's pretty awesome, bro. You literally can go in and say, okay, I feel like maybe you don't do good DFS like daily, weekly stuff, but if you feel good about looking at 3 players that have an over or under on the rushing yards or rushing TDs or whatever, it's so fun to pick 3 of those and then wait all year on it, because then you're going to play it all year. So I urge you to go try it, Mr. B, and definitely enter promo code Smitty. Help your man Smitty out. Paco, get ready for the door league. I'll be sending emails on it. Don't worry. Doc Brown told you the Suns will win in 5. Great Scott, Marty. The Suns win in 5. The Craze Book Sports Almanac, Marty. I told you not to get it. Suns in 7. All right, I'm out of here. Guys, I'm drafting in less than an hour, or 2 hours and a half. 2.5 hours we'll be drafting here on YouTube. So come back to this channel in less than 2.5 hours. Later. Appreciate all you.